Welcome to this quick tips episode of Biz Help for You. I'm Candy Messer, and in 10 minutes or less, I tackle one business question to help you make smarter decisions because I want to see you succeed and truly enjoy running your business. Today, I'm going to discuss the do's and don'ts of interview questions, immigration status, and hiring compliance.
Welcome to Biz Help for You, the show that saves you the expensive learning curve by providing advice from industry experts in every facet of the entrepreneurial journey. Too many small businesses collapse. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20% fail within their first year, and less than 35% make it to their 10th anniversary. The goal of this podcast is to change that statistic. So if you're interested in learning more to be a successful entrepreneur, tune in today.
So, multiple companies have been sued after applicants were denied employment because they were asked immigration status or the job posting specifically mentioned candidates must be U.S. citizens. And this is a big no-no. And so I want to make sure that you are aware of what you can and can't do to avoid any potential suits or other penalties that you could be assessed. It's extremely important to understand the rules of what you can and can't ask when interviewing candidates. So today I'm going to talk about immigration status and what you can ask and how to protect your business from legal trouble. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what you can't ask and why. So examples of questions that are inappropriate include, are you a U.S. citizen? Where were you born? Are you a green card holder? And what is your visa status? Now, this can be confusing because, as you know, if you're hiring someone, you do have to fill out an I-9 form, and you do have to have what type of status that they do have, if they're resident alien, if they're a U.S. citizen, but you can't ask that in the interview process or say in a job description, that it is required. So why is this risky to ask these questions? Well, these questions can violate Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination based on national origin. Under the Immigration Reform and Control Act, IRCA, it's illegal to discriminate against someone based on their citizenship or immigration status if they're legally authorized to work. So there are three major legal risks. Number one is intentional use of the information. This would be if you ask about immigration status and then you don't hire the candidate because they're not a citizen. That's direct discrimination. Number two would be unintentional bias. Even if you think you're being neutral, unconscious bias might influence your decision once you know someone's immigration background. And number three is perception bias. The applicant may assume their immigration status played a role, even if it didn't. This can lead to complaints, investigations, or legal costs. So what can you ask? Permissible questions include, are you legally authorized to work in the United States? Will you now or in the future require employment sponsorship? So why are these questions okay? These are job-related and tied directly to the employer's legal obligation to hire authorized workers. They don't ask for unnecessary personal or protected information. So consistency is key. These questions must be asked of every applicant, not just those with foreign-sounding names, accents, or international experience. So make sure you add these questions and these follow-up checklists to your standard job application or pre-screening questionnaire. It's important to document when you're interviewing any of your notes and keep them professional and focused only on job criteria. Avoid writing comments that reference immigration status, appearance, or accent. So what are best practices for interviewing and compliance? First, standardize your process. Again, use the same interview script or question set for every applicant. Focus your questions on skills, experience, and fit for the job. Then make sure you train your team. Have anyone who's involved in the hiring process understand employment law and anti-discrimination practices. conduct annual training on interviewing, unconscious bias, and HR compliance. Keep the paper trail clean. This means saving copies of interview forms and job applications, and note why someone was selected or not selected based on qualifications only. And finally, use technology wisely. Consider hiring a platform that standardizes screening and helps ensure legal compliance. So let me just give you a little bit of background on some of the regulations just to have you understand a little bit more about what they are. Again, IRCA was in 1986, and it requires employers to verify work eligibility using Form I-9, but it also prohibits hiring discrimination based on national origin or citizenship status. The EEOC guidance reinforces the hiring decisions cannot be based on perceived or actual citizenship or national origin. So there are penalties if you don't follow these guidelines. They can range from $250 to $21,000 per violation. Legal fees, settlement payouts, and reputational damage can occur if you do not follow the legal guidelines. Again, there have been companies recently in the last couple of years who have been sued. I know there was a tech company in Virginia that was hired because their job description specifically posted that you had to be a US citizen and you had to be within a certain region to be able to apply. The notes actually said that applicants weren't supposed to be made aware of this, but whoever posted the job description obviously didn't remove that. And so they had multiple people filing complaints against them, and they had to pay a hefty penalty for doing so. We've also seen where people are specifically targeting from one country, even where they don't want to hire certain areas. And you can't post in your job description that you're only willing to hire from one country or one location. So again, be very careful with your job descriptions as well. Make sure that there's no hint of any discrimination. And then in your interview process, be open to any applicant that applies, and of course, hire for their job skills and the best fit for that position. So again, never ask about citizenship or immigration status directly. You can ask about work authorization and sponsorship needs, and then make sure that you apply these questions consistently across the board for every candidate that you are hiring. Next, make sure you review all of your job postings, applications, and your interview scripts. Talk to your team or any HR consultant if you use one to make sure that they're following all the guidelines as well. And then again, have a compliance checklist to make sure that you're following all of the rules and regulations properly. So avoiding legal pitfalls in hiring isn't just about staying out of trouble. It's about building a fair, inclusive, and professional hiring process that reflects your company's values. So thanks for tuning in to this quick tip episode of Biz Help for You. I hope it gave you fresh insight to make your path to success a little bit clearer. If you have a question you'd love to have covered on the show, please send me a message at media@abandp.com. If you find this topic helpful, would you leave a review and share it with others? And of course, if you'd like to financially support the show, I would love that too. And a link is in the show notes. So until next time, have a great day.
For you. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.